This is my base model Mac Mini M4. I bought it back in November of 2024, right after it came out, and I edited over 100 YouTube videos in 4K on this setup until last week. I bought a fully loaded Mac Mini, except for the storage, and I upgraded it myself to replace this setup. And today I'm going to walk you through my whole setup and explain why a budget setup like this can work really well for you to start, and why I eventually upgraded, and all of the things that I've done to improve my YouTube workflow. And it's all centered around the Mac Mini, one of the best, most affordable computer workstations you can buy. Before we get into it, I just want to mention that a very small percentage of people that watch my videos are actually subscribed. But subscribing is completely free, and it's a great way to support my channel. Plus, I upload a new Apple video every single week. And if subscribing is not your thing, liking the video helps out a lot too. Okay, so this is the base model Mac Mini M4 with 16 gigs of RAM and a 256 gigabyte SSD. And at the time, my goal was to start one YouTube channel, and I was going to upload one 4K video every single week. And this channel is actually not this channel. This channel is a channel called Lugal, where I upload Nintendo videos and other gaming related videos. There's also some like retro Apple stuff and some older tech stuff on there. So obviously if I had 256 gigabytes of storage, that was going to be pretty difficult. I was going to have to use an external drive of some sort. And this is the solution I ended up getting. This is the Zyke enclosure, and you can put an M.2 SSD in here. So at the time, I purchased a 4 terabyte Team Group M.2 SSD and put it in here. And this is something not everybody knows, but you can actually change your home folder location on macOS. So a lot of times if people are using an external drive, they're constantly moving their files to and from the external drive from their like user account, right? In the downloads folder, the movies folder, things like that. But when you move your home folder to a remote drive like this, your entire user account lives on the external drive. So anytime I'm downloading something, saving something, installing a program, it's all installing onto here and not on the actual SSD inside this computer. It's kind of hard to explain, but that's pretty much the best way to explain it. So if this drive isn't plugged into this Mac Mini, I can't access my user account. It won't even let me log in. So it's important to have a backup user account that I have on here in case this drive dies or is not connected for whatever reason. And then this was like most of the setup and most of the cost that went into my YouTube videos at the start, right? Because I was starting a fresh channel and I wasn't getting very many views at all. I didn't get a video that surpassed 2,000 views for maybe the first 5 months. I was pouring a lot of time into my videos and they weren't doing very well. So outside of this, I had an iPhone, and it's the iPhone 17 Pro. Previously was the iPhone 16 Pro, and I just record every video straight on the iPhone right here at my desk like you're watching right now, and then I would airdrop it to the Mac Mini, edit it in Final Cut Pro, and upload it to YouTube. So that was my workflow for just about a year of doing YouTube videos. So by the end of that year, I'd edited basically between 50 and 60 videos on this computer, and I decided to make some big upgrades. So one of the first upgrades I made was I bought a Shure SM7DB, which is a version of the Shure SM7B, which is a very popular microphone for podcasters. It's actually the same microphone that Michael Jackson used to record the Thriller album. Well, it's not the same microphone, but it's the same line of microphones, if that makes sense. This is just a newer generation. So I had to buy that, and I also had to buy an audio interface in order to use it properly. So that was the other big thing that I added to my setup after just about a year, because at that point I had been monetized, my videos were doing a lot better. I was able to make my money back that I spent on this initial setup, and then I invested more money into my sound to make everything sound a little bit better and more professional. And throughout this time when I was uploading weekly videos on the Lugal channel, I was also uploading to this channel, the Louis Tech channel, kind of just randomly whenever I had time or whenever I had an idea that I wanted to execute on. And I think I did about 10 or 15 videos during the course of all of 2025 on this channel to kind of like kickstart it, because I ideally wanted to get back to uploading on this channel as well. And then starting in February of 2026, I started uploading weekly videos on this channel, and those weekly videos are just going to continue. I got a lot better and faster at making videos since I bought this Mac Mini in November of 2024. And since then I've edited so many, and I get faster at concepting, shooting, editing. The whole process just moves a lot faster to the point where I can actually do 2 videos every single week. and I'm shooting in 4K on my iPhone, I'm airdropping it to the Mac Mini, I'm editing in Final Cut Pro, and then I'm just using some like free software options to make my thumbnails. But recently, I made a big change. I bought Pixelmator Pro. If you don't know much about me, I'm extremely anti-subscription cost. I hate subscription fees. I do not like them, and I try to have as little of them as possible. So part of the reason I use Final Cut Pro and Pixelmator Pro is they're one-time purchase apps. So you buy it once and it's yours for life. You get updates and you don't have to pay a monthly cost, right? Because I'm trying to make a YouTube channel that has good videos, but also brings in money that pays for said videos, right? Because the more money the videos make, the more money I can invest into making better videos or more interesting videos or something like that. So if that's the case, and I have, subscription apps taking away from that income, that's money that could be going to the videos, if that makes sense. So Pixelmator Pro is sort of like the poor man's Photoshop. It has a lot of the same features as Photoshop, and I think it's more beautiful than Photoshop, like the interface and everything about it, but it doesn't really have any of the super try-hard professional features that Photoshop has. So it's definitely lacking some features and usability. So it's not my favorite thing in the world, but for $50, it's definitely worth it, I would say. There's a bit of a learning curve because it's not quite the same as Photoshop, learning the new keyboard shortcuts and things like that. And there's a couple of quality of life things that I don't absolutely love about it, but you can save PSD files in it. You can also open PSD files in it. So any PSD files I had from my past, I can just use them and edit them in Pixelmator Pro. So I'm really happy with that purchase. And then that allows me to have like a very streamlined setup for my thumbnails and for my videos. So that's kind of like the tech that I use to make the videos themselves, but let's talk about the rest of the desk setup. So I have my Mac Mini connected to two 4K monitors on my desk, and these are 4K OLED 240 Hertz monitors, and I have them connected via USB-C to my Mac Mini. And the rest of my desk peripherals are connected to these two monitors because both of these monitors have a KVM inside of them, which basically means they have a couple USB ports on the monitors themselves, and anything you plug into those monitors will automatically switch to whatever computer you have connected at the time. So when I switch from my gaming PC to my Mac Mini, my speakers, my headset, my keyboard, and my mouse all switch over to my Mac Mini sound and audio, and I can control everything instantly. So super easy and kind of essential for this multi-computer setup that I use. I also have a full-time job and I work from home with a MacBook Pro, which also needs to be connected to these two monitors. So it's the same type of thing where the KVM really helps me because in a given day, I will use 3 different computers at my setup. So I really need everything to just continuously switch between what I'm using. So these monitors are great. They're obviously super high refresh rate, so great for gaming. I didn't really get the refresh rate for video editing. I shoot in 30 FPS, so it doesn't make a huge difference, but I am a very competitive gamer, so that's why I got these monitors. And I do understand that you do not need dual 240 Hertz monitors. I just kind of have like this weird gimmicky thing where like I need my monitors to be identical regardless. I have my second monitor like way clocked down in frame rate because obviously I'm not gaming on my second monitor, but I prefer my monitors to be the same monitor for color accuracy and a bunch of other things. But these monitors are great, and they've dropped in price by 50% since last year. So it was about $600 for each of them, which is honestly, for what they are, it's very worth it. That's a pretty good deal, especially considering they were over $1,300 at this time last year. Okay, from there we have my keyboard and mouse. I have a pretty basic 60% keyboard, maybe it's a 65% keyboard, I don't know exactly. And I have the Glorious Model D, which is just the ergonomic version of the Glorious Model O. It's a super lightweight mouse, and I always like to use wired peripherals. I don't like charging them, so I always try to use wired everything if possible. The only thing that's wireless is my headset if I use it with my Mac Mini. Sometimes I use my gaming headset with it, but also I use AirPods with my Mac Mini all the time, pretty much every day. And then I also just have a very basic set of Amazon speakers. They were like $70. They're nothing crazy, just some bookshelf speakers. They're probably pretty mid, to be honest, but they get the job done, and a lot of times when I'm editing using headphones anyway, so the speaker quality isn't necessarily a huge issue for me. And then on the top of my monitor, I just have a Logitech HD 1080p webcam. I think it's like the C922 or C950. I'll link it down below, but it's nothing crazy. It's pretty much like the default webcam that people get. We also have, of course, the microphone and the audio interface on the desk as well, but that's pretty much it in terms of all of the tech I use to create my YouTube videos. It's a pretty minimal setup, and a lot of the emphasis is on speed. I use iPhones because then I can just quick airdrop the footage after and drop it right into Final Cut, quickly export it as fast as I can, and then from there uploading it to YouTube. The Mac Mini is the heart and the soul of the entire setup. It does all the heavy lifting, and all of this is really only possible with this Mac Mini, and its ability to edit 4K video is pretty unparalleled. It just crushes every single thing that I throw at it, and I just recently was starting to see a little bit of a bottleneck in terms of export times, so I decided to upgrade from the base model M4 to the M4 Pro. So that's my entire setup that I use to edit 2 4K YouTube videos every single week, and that's kind of all the secrets about it. Make sure to comment down below if you have any questions, and I'll catch you guys next week. Peace out.